Hi everybody, thanks for popping in on this video. I was tooling around on YouTube earlier, checking out some Minecraft videos, and I came across this video by FedEx Gaming and how he makes his custom super flat maps on Bedrock Edition for his tutorials. I actually decided to find a way to take that a step further so that way any console players that want to do a super flat challenge can. So, as long as you have the Xbox One or PS4 edition Minecraft, all we got to do is swap over to editions. This will pull us back to the original console edition before Bedrock. This is actually pretty fun trying to figure out. And there are quite a few steps to make sure you can play as survival on Bedrock Edition. So we're going to go create new world. You're going to set it to creative to begin with. You can name it whatever. I'm just going to name it super. Just and then you go more options. We're going to come down to super flat world. And then we're going to customize that. So we're not going to adjust any of the layers like he does for his tutorials. We're going to leave it just as a super flat map would. I haven't tested this with any of the other biomes, but if any of y'all do, feel free to drop a comment, let me know how it goes. Come over to properties. So this will allow villages to spawn. I set it down to 400 just to see how many I can get. Strongholds, if you want to go to the end to beat the game, you will have to turn strongholds on. I left it at 1. I went ahead and turned that spacing down to 400 as well. Everything else on this settings screen is for the different biomes, so there's nothing else you could check off here for plains. So we're going to go back, and then we're going to create the world. Obviously creative and super flat doesn't let you get trophies, so as long as you're not worried about trophy hunting and just having fun on a super flat world, this will be great. So load in just like every other super flat world. So the biggest difference is that the rules for Bedrock do not for flat worlds do not let you render anything new. So what you'll have to do to get your villages on here, I'd go ahead and make a level 4 map. Because once you switch over to Bedrock Edition, anything that's not rendered will not generate. So if I were to back out right now and I only had this one village right here rendered, it would not that would be the only thing on your map. So if you want to beat the game, then we also need to go ahead and generate in your stronghold. So just grab some Eyes of Ender real quick. Where did it go? I didn't see where it went. Okay, so this direction. And you can make this as difficult on yourselves as you want. If you only want to render in 1 or 2 villages along with your stronghold, go for it. If you want to render in the entire this 4x4 map, go for it. Like, it's going to be free game for anybody. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll find the portal room real quick just to make sure there's no glitches. Did I? Oh, right here. Alright, so we found the portal room. Portal's intact, it's not busted. So we'll go ahead and throw away everything that you made. So that way you don't spawn in with it whenever you switch over to Bedrock Edition. I'm not going to take the time to fill in the map right now, so that way I can continue on with the tutorial. So then what you're going to have to do to get this over onto Bedrock Edition, we're just going to save and exit. And then since we created the game in creative, what we have to do is go back into your map list, click on it, swap it over to survival, load back in, and I was high up, so I'm gonna fall die. Oh, not die. Okay. Alright, so now that we're switched back to survival, we can then exit the game again. And then we're going to tab down and we're going to relaunch Bedrock Edition. So we're going to launch new Minecraft. One of the big cons to this is that in the old edition, blacksmiths were not a villager type, so you can't get diamonds from their chests. The only way you're going to be able to get diamond items are going to be through trading with villagers. But since we are switching over to Bedrock Edition, if you go into the Nether, there will be ancient debris, so you can make those netherite items. Alright, so now to play on your map, we go into play, scroll all the way down to your old world, and you're going to convert it. So after it's done converting, it's going to bring up the Bedrock update, yada yada. Alright, we're going to go ahead and launch it. I don't make backups whenever I do this. And then after you get loaded in, you will be able to play on survival. There is one bug, glitch, whatever you want to call it, with the Nether, which I'll show you here in a second. The reason why you have to make it you have to switch to survival before converting to Bedrock is because if you leave it in creative and you convert it, then whenever you go into your options here, your settings, then you won't be able to change your personal game mode. Even if you switch it from creative to survival, your personal game mode will stay grayed out in the creative, so you would always have access to that creative screen. By switching back to survival, it takes away that personal game mode. It allows it to go to survival. But for the sake of this, you can also switch it to creative on both. So once you switch this to creative, it ungrays out your personal game mode, unlike it would do trying to switch from creative to survival. And I'm just going to do this real quick so that way I can show y'all the Nether bug slash glitch, whatever you want to call it. Already passed. And I'm stupid. So whenever you do get into the Nether, it looks like at first it loaded you in as a super flat Nether, but it actually did not. After it loads in, it's just this these sets of chunks that you're in that gets loaded super flat. Everything else in the Nether will come back to its normal, regular outputs. You just end up with this Nether void. But you do get the chance to find some quick ancient debris whenever you finally get that diamond pickaxe, whenever you scout through these walls. Go ahead and head back to the overworld. So as I mentioned earlier, so I'm going to switch, oh no, I don't need to. As I mentioned earlier, only what you rendered in the original edition will render. So there should be no other villages available anywhere else on the map that hasn't been filled in So that's how you can make it more or less difficult on yourselves. If you want, you can also change the village spacing down to as low as you want, as high as you want, so you get more or less villages that way as well. I hope y'all enjoyed this quick tutorial. I plan on making a super flat world pretty soon, just because I've watched several videos and I find them very interesting. So, alrighty. Thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed.